burning in Phelan right now. Stu?
Well, that's right. Here's one of them right there. We've been watching as homeowners, not this one, but another ranch. They were actually out there moments before those flames were getting close to the house, and they were trying to put water on it. Looks like they had a very professional pump system set up, but the smoke just basically took over that area, and we lost sight of that home. There are many homes out here. This is off of the 138, and you can see this area just completely covered in smoke out here right now. Huge flames continue just to eat up the vegetation, and like I said, we know there are many homes out there. And we saw the flames get very close to other homes. We think that they've actually passed over some areas. There are some ranches right here. There's another ranch. You can see some of those outbuildings already burned and are still burning. A lot of vegetation out here near these homes. A lot of ranch type of situations out here as well. There are no firefighters in this area to do structure protection because the flames are so close to these homes and they are moving so quickly. Right now, that is the 138 that you see right there. This definitely is the Fennel area. And if I try to get a little bit wider, do a little camera magic, you got to excuse me, you got an idea what is burning out there. This is so much acreage out here, so many homes off the 138 where we understand that evacuations have been going on. We saw some horse trailers leaving earlier on, and of course we've been watching as people try to defend their property from these flames, but eventually they just give up. They have to leave. Here's another farm area. You can see some flames very close to that house. Apparently the firefighters cannot make their way out to that home, so it is just kind of a hit and miss. The winds are right, that house might be saved. If not, that house is definitely going up. And then right across the way, huge flames continue to burn. The wind's very light out here and moving erratically. Some points the smoke goes straight up, meaning no wind. And all of a sudden, there'll be a big gust. We'll lose sight of those homes, and then we'll see that scary black smoke. That's when we know that something big is burning inside, and that's we understand that's when we believe that some of those ranches are going. Here's another area right there that we know that there are homes. Look at that right there. That's probably an outbuilding, but that's one of the ranches we were watching earlier on. Firefighters can't make their way here. The flames just too intense. The firefight, and of course, vegetation so close to these structures makes it almost impossible to create some kind of defense. Right now, though, these flames continue to eat up that acreage and march closer to the Wrightwood area. This flank of the fire is going to be the western side, but we do know this fire still continues to burn, and now we understand 4 sides, so all 4 sides, north, south, east, and west, they all have active fire this afternoon.
That's right, but Stu, we want to remind our viewers that we are looking at the area of Phelan right now. This is the community of Phelan where those homes are burning.
That's definitely right. This is the Phelan area. These are ranches right off the 138. A lot of that black smoke we can't even see down inside there, but we do know that there are a lot of these little dirt roads that pop off the 138 that take you to those ranches. So we know that this is a very populated area. Sadly, when you get that wide shot, all we can show you is that. We know that there's a lot of smoke, a lot of fire on that interior area. Hopefully, no human life is going to be lost later on. Of course, there's a lot of ranches out there. We don't want to see any animals hurt as well. But right now, though, this firefight just continues to go. Firefighters doing what they can to try to slow the forward movement of the fire. We know the DC-10 is in a holding pattern right underneath us. They're probably trying to pick a spot to drop that very, very precious flame retardant to try to set up some sort of line, hopefully to slow these flames before they get to the Wrightwood area.
Stu, I believe you did mention earlier that you did see actually horse trailers leaving the area. Is that correct?
Yes, we did. We actually had some shots of them. This is the 138 right here, and you can see it's completely covered in smoke. And then every now and then you'll see a vehicle, usually an official vehicle, popping out of that smoke, making their way out. We did see some horse trailers making their way out of this area. Hopefully they were loaded with their whatever animals that they have from that ranch. That we don't, obviously from our altitude, we can't tell you that, but we have been seeing vehicles leaving this area, and occasionally we've been seeing fire trucks actually making their way into that very scary smoke, very dangerous smoke for sure. Firefighters right there, I believe that's going to be the Mount Shadow Manor Road. That's an area right there where you can see a lot of the firefighters, the green trucks, Forest Service, red trucks, could also be San Bernardino Fire. Also, some of the Forest Service trucks are going to be, U.S. Forest Service are going to be that red color as well. But right now, that seems to be a command post that they've set up out here. Very sad to see a lot of these homes burning, very devastating. And this is one of the hugest, one of the biggest fires that I have actually covered. And it's so sad to know that this isn't just vegetation, that there are so many residents and ranches inside that huge plume of smoke.
You know, you said something earlier that really is frightening even to think about. You said hopefully there is no loss, certainly of life for animals and humans, of course. Just wondering if you noticed earlier, as you've been watching this fire, the evacuations from that area. Hopefully everyone's gone, even with those homes that are going up in flames. They're out of their homes.
You know, Pat, we were watching a couple of people out there. We were commenting, my pilot John and I, we were talking about it earlier on. There was one ranch, and we actually saw them with a giant water tank on a trailer and what looked to be almost a professional or a firefighter hose, and they were trying to put out some fire. That you see something like this. It's not this ranch, but it was a ranch like this, and those flames just continued to march on. That hose did absolutely nothing to slow that fire. And then, of course, the smoke just gets thicker, and we lose sight of them. We constantly were kind of going back, seeing if we saw that pickup truck working their way out of that area. Sadly, we did not. This house that we're seeing right there, you can see now the flames really starting to catch on to the porch area, starting to get into the eaves. We don't know for a fact if that is a residence, but it definitely does look to be an area that somebody is living in, and you can see all that vegetation right up against that home. Very dangerous, very scary stuff for sure. And right now, as just throwing in the doubler there, you can actually see some of that house starting to catch fire. Very sad. It's just heart-wrenching to watch, and just to think that this is being repeated so many other times inside that smoke. Firefighters doing what they can. Obviously, this side or this flank of the fire, it is moving so, it's so active, it's so fluid that there's really very little they can do out here right now. We know the aerial attack is set up. They are going to start setting up something, but right now we have yet to see where they're going to lay down that line. And these flames just continue to eat up these properties and continue to march closer to Wrightwood. And
you know, Stu, when you show us that house, we can you know, imagine the size of the house. It gives you a pretty good indication of how tall those flames are. And someone with no matter how sophisticated your home watering system is, firefighting system, flames like that will simply overwhelm you.
And that's why they...
You know, definitely.
I was going to say, that's why fire officials tell you, no matter how heartbreaking it is to watch something like this, and you know that, that it could be your home that's possibly catching fire, that's why they want you to get out of there so they can do the best job that they can, because there's really no way that just an individual human effort like that can take on flames that I heard at one point were like, looked to be 30 to 40 feet in the air.
These flames definitely extremely huge, and you also have to understand too, the firefighters, these are trained professionals. They're not, by no means are they just throwing their hands up in the air going, oh, there's nothing we can do. If they could do something, they would be here. And you know, and of course the homeowner, they've got a personal vested interest, so of course they're going to try to make that last stand. But when the flames are so big, the smoke is so thick, you just have to wonder when do you cut your losses and run. This home, you can see the wind starting to shift right now. That smoke, this is what we were talking about. We've been seeing this all afternoon. That smoke is going to start covering it up, and that wind is actually going to feed that fire that's going to continue to burn on that home. Then you have some vegetation down right there near some of this area where they probably had some plants set up. Maybe this was an active ranch area. All this right now on fire this afternoon. And again, this is just one of the many ranches that we've been watching, just one by one, get enveloped by the smoke as these flames continue to walk or move along the 138 over here. This is going to be in the Fennel area, going to be close to the Cajon Junction. This is an area that a lot of people take from Wrightwood to get to the 15, if that gives you an idea where this is. Here's another home very close to the 138. You can see a lot of black smoke that might indicate that fence is burning. You can see some sort of structure there underneath that fire. And this is these are spot fires. This gives you an idea how this fire moves. It picks up an ember, drops it a little bit farther up, starts another spot fire, and that just continues on and on and on. You can see some of these flames right by the freeway right there, just burning. There's a lot of road construction out here. They've been trying to widen the 138 through this area. It has been a 2-lane road forever. But here's some more of these ranches. This one, nothing right now, but those flames so close. And take a look at those trees real quick. I don't know if it really picked that up, but they're moving, and that shows you that there's a lot of wind out there. That pool actually has little waves in it, so there's a lot of wind out there, and that's going to keep moving these flames in this direction. More homes, more fire. Just so devastating to watch.
You know, when Stu was talking about cutting your losses, the thing about, when they tell you to evacuate, because they're giving you a route that's safe to use for evacuation purposes.
At the
Plus,
time.
as longer you stay and you decide it's time to quote-unquote cut your losses, then you might be impeding firefighters and firefighting equipment from getting in there to fight the fire.
Yes, and plus you could be trapped. I remember
Exactly.
some people were trying to leave earlier that were told to evacuate, and they had to take a different route. Thankfully, that route was open, and they were able to get out the time.
Stu was talking about those trees moving and the little waves on that little tiny pool.
Yeah, the wind.
Evelyn Taft is in for Jackie Johnson tonight. Evelyn, what are the winds like up there right now?
We'll see very gusty conditions right now, 17-mile-per-hour winds in the area. But I do want to remind you guys that wildfires, they're a force of nature. So they essentially can create their own weather. And that's what we're seeing right here. So even though we're looking at 17-mile-per-hour wind gusts in the immediate area, on the fire lines, we could see much gustier conditions. So again, at this point, we could see wind gusts 30, 40 miles per hour. So basically, we have in-drafts coming in. And when that happens, we could see gusts around 60 miles per hour on average, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's what we're seeing right now, because when we see the video right here, you will see how gusty it is out there at the moment. And another big concern, I'm looking at the spot forecast that just came down from the National Weather Service, and I will tell you humidities are extremely low. So in the vicinity, we're talking about 14%, but we could see the relative humidity drop below 5% today. So that is dangerously low. Again, single-digit relative humidity out there. So very, very hot, very, very dry, and very gusty, as I mentioned as well.
Very, very dangerous, Evelyn. Thank you for that. I want to go back up to Stu Mundel. Stu, are we looking at a transmission line? I'm looking at the fire that seems to be going up a pole there, which is not a good situation. There's also the firefighters are very fearful of transmission lines catching on fire.
Well, that's right. There are a lot of power lines out here right along the 138, and you can see those fire trucks actually abandoning their situation right there, making that U-turn. That was one of those homes that we were looking out here in the Phelan area. I understand that I was mispronouncing that. I am so sorry about that. But this is the Phelan area right by the 138. That house, this is what we've been watching. Those flames really start to envelop those homes, those ranches, and then they are gone in that black smoke. Those fire trucks actually making U-turns and going back into the area, into that interior area where that heavy smoke is right now. That smoke also very dangerous for people. Makes breathing very difficult. Those firefighters obviously have a mission. They made that U-turn to go back into that area. We're watching now as that heavy smoke really starting to move along out there. We were watching a lot of these homes just starting to catch fire out here, a lot of spot fires. And then now, because of the winds just changing that direction, we can't see them anymore. We know that that one home right there completely engulfed in fire right off the 138 near the Mount Shadow Manor Road area. That was where they were staging earlier on. Right now, that building completely engulfed in fire. We were watching some of the evacuations. We did hear that this area was being evacuated earlier on. Hopefully that that area, people in this area were heeding those warnings. They have left. A lot of times we know from the recent big fire out there in the Sand Fire that we don't hear about any kind of loss of life until much later when the firefighters actually can go through that area. Hopefully hopefully we will not hear about any loss of life on this fire, but it is huge out here. This area, they're talking 6,500 acres. Those numbers got to be growing. There's another home very much in danger. Does seem like it has some defensible space around it, but with these type of flames and that type of wind, you just have to wonder and just, you know, say a silent prayer that this home might be spared. We do see a lot of times that they are, but this fire just continues on. Let me get you a wide shot real quick. We are in the Fennel area. It stretches all the way down to the Cajon Pass.
Phelan area. But more importantly, another concern for firefighters when you're fighting the fire along these ranches, which are sort of spotted here and there, those ranchers use a lot of equipment typically, and that tells me that they probably store gasoline and they probably store propane on those places, and that has to be a concern for firefighters.
You know, Paul, by the time that those propane tanks might be going up and the fuel might be catching fire on the equipment, I would hope that all human life would be far away from that area by that time. We do see every now and then, we just speculate because we can't say, but we'll see a mushroom cloud or a big black plume of smoke in the interior of this fire. We've made comments here in the chopper that might have been a propane tank or perhaps, like you said, fuel being stored on a ranch. So yes, that is definitely something that the firefighters think about and are concerned about, of course, but right now this is just, they have to draw a line somewhere. We know that the air attack, there was a DC-10 out here earlier on, maybe just surveying, maybe being held out in this area. We are going to be on the northwestern side of this massive fire, and you know, it is, you know, they're talking about the 6,500 acres. That is the acreage that has burned. And then you have this huge line of fire that just continues to work its way through some wildlands. And then there are some sporadic homes out here. They are talking about the Wrightwood area. Wrightwood is miles from this, but this afternoon, this area, Phelan, was miles from where the fire started. So it does move quickly sometimes. It does spot. So this is a firefight of massive proportions, and right now we're not seeing much in a way of aerial attack on this side of the fire. Makes you wonder if they're going for the other side or the interior area. Right now, though, ground crews out here doing what they can, mostly, I believe, just assisting in evacuations and making sure that the ranches that we're watching are actually evacuated and there is no human life where these homes are burning.
And you know, there's we're talking about a total of, well, probably 4,500 homes in the areas that you were talking about, Phelan, and of course Wrightwood in those in the mountain resort area there. And I'm just questioning again, as you talked about the DC-10 being there, not being able to fly because of all the danger. Now this, look at how fast this has gone. This is right up on this structure. I don't know if this is a home or ranch of some kind, but it's even closer. And there's really, what can be done?
You know, in this case, at this point, if there's somebody there, they might do their last stand. If not, they're going to basically just kind of cut their losses. I'm going to show you some of the air attacks that are working right now. They're working much closer to the Cajon Pass area. We're going to push in right there. I believe that's going to be the C-130. Now, this is a privately owned C-130. We've been watching him drop that retardant line, that flame retardant, trying to keep these flames in check. This area right here, this is going to be actually just past that smoke, closer towards the San Bernardino area. That's going to be the Lytle Creek area, and we know that we have reporters down there, and they're saying that the flames moving away from their area up into this heavily brush area, lightly scattered residents up here, but still, it gives you an idea. So just right here, we can show you something, how it jumps, how these flames jump. There's so much nothing between here and there, and then you have these open flames by a residence. You've got some CAL FIRE down there doing what they can possibly to keep that structure safe, but it's basically a spot fire. There's probably about half a mile distance between the main fire and that's what they are so worried about, and this is what they're dealing with out here. These flames the embers will jump and be carried, and this line just continues on and on. Right now, though, the firefight, they're doing what they can, but it's going to be going on for some time.
Well, I do wonder where the DC-10 is. The good news about, if there is good news in any of this, is that DC-10 can go to the San Bernardino airport, which is close by, and fly out of there. But the DC-10 tends to work differently than super scoopers, the helicopters, of course.
Right.
The DC-10 has a spotter plane that will generally go out in front of it and show it the path and make sure everything is okay for the DC-10, because it's a huge aircraft, a wide-body aircraft, and it flies low and it flies very slow. So you do need that spotter, whereas the helicopters, they just generally do their own thing, and they actually hit the fire. The DC-10 drops that red retardant.
Check, and they're not going to. They don't want to drop that on homes, and obviously the DC-10s can carry a lot more fire retardant,
right,
way more than even the helicopters and their capacity to drop water. But as you mentioned, they were dropping the Phos-Chek earlier on that ridge that was separating the community of Lytle Creek, hoping that the fire wouldn't cross that ridge. But when the winds are blowing as much as they have been, there's not really much they can do about that. If those embers can jump and just go from community to community, actually. And again, they were concerned about those transmission lines going up out there. We know that there are a couple of evacuation centers. We're just looking at one there in Fontana, the Jesse Turner Community Center. And I believe there was another evacuation center that was set up earlier because people were having a problem getting to the Jesse Turner Community Center. That's just how fast this fire is spread. 10:45 a.m., fire first reported from 2 acres to 2,000 acres in less than 30 minutes. And here we are now at 6:30, and I'm sure the number at 6,500 acres burned has even grown to be more than that.
Yeah, because we were reporting that at, what, 5 o'clock? Mm-hmm. So it has to be certainly higher than that. And Stu, we talk about spot fires. You've certainly seen those this afternoon and evening.
We definitely have, and they just keep jumping from property to property out here. Very sad situation for sure. You were talking about the San Bernardino airport. That's where the tankers get their fuel, and of course the Phos-Chek, relatively close by to this area. It is just basically just over the hill there, about 20, maybe 30 miles away. Those planes can do that very, very quickly. We've counted three DC-10s in the air this afternoon battling this fire. Untold number of helicopters picking up water from the Forest Service. A lot of them are privately owned. Of course, there are some county-owned helicopters out here as well, doing what they can, putting the water on these hot spots out here. Very target-rich environment for sure for those firefighters, firefighting helicopters, just to get out here and to pick spots to drop water on. This is one of those ranches we were talking about earlier on. You can see the buildings, sometimes they get lit up through the smoke. You can see what's left of them out there. Some of these are homes, some of these are outbuildings, some of these are barns, maybe even chicken coops in this area. So, and then you can see how the different types of smoke, when it's a structure that's burning, it usually is that very, very thick black smoke that we see right there and right there. Those are usually structures or possibly a car or something man-made burning. And then when in the wider shots, you'll see a lot of that lighter smoke. Usually that's vegetation or that light gray. So that gives you an idea. When you see that black smoke inside that gray smoke, that's probably a home, or that's probably some sort of man-made structure burning out here this afternoon. Just in the 30 minutes that we've been on the air, we can tell you that the fire has moved from basically, I'll show you, I can't give you an idea, but it's probably about a quarter mile just along this area. When we started the news, this area was not on fire, and now it's all the way, worked its way down a couple of actually country blocks down farther to the north and to the east. I'm sorry, north and to the west out here. But again, this is in the Phelan area. Many homes, many ranches right now burning. Hopefully this area has been evacuated. The fire department down there doing what they could. When it gets to a point, they basically just have to evacuate or get their own guys out. Pat was talking about this one structure, and this is what we see later on. You know, homes burned all around, and then one left standing. Now this one not out of the danger, but it could be. Yes. So it's, you know, obviously this is the firefight. This is what we see.
Well, Stu, those homes that were burning along the highway there, and the fire trucks you had mentioned, that was that one scene that you pushed in on just a bit ago. The fire trucks, as you said, have to evacuate or simply retreat. Do you know where they went to? How far down the road they went?
You know, we don't. We've been sort of listening to getting ideas where they're moving to their command posts. Obviously, this is a very coordinated effort. They don't, these fire trucks, they don't move independently unless life is in danger. So if they are moving, that means somebody is telling them, you need to, you know, this engine, this squad, this truck needs to move to this position, or we need you in this other area. So they will move as they are needed. Right now, though, these are still staying in this area, possibly in case life is in danger and they might be able to do something to save somebody's life. Right now, though, you can see that one. We'll keep an eye on it. I would love to see it pull some line and try to put out some of that fire. But again, they also have to get to water supplies. They only have what they have on those trucks. It may be 1,000 gallons, which sounds like a lot, but with these type of flames, it might not be enough. These guys really seem like they're starting to set up. So we're going to keep an eye on it. Maybe they're going to try to pull some line out here and try to save some of these structures.
All right, we want to thank you for that, Stu Mundel.